Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today's topic is going to be a post that continues to make the front page of Reddit on a regular basis. And that is something that happened in 2018. I had CBC News reach out to me about doing a piece about Apple. And there's a couple of questions that get asked over and over again. And there's also a recurring theme in these questions that I thought would be worth answering in a video. I actually already answered all of these questions in a video several years ago, but nobody watches that one, so I figured, what the hell, I'll make another one while they're finishing up their go-kart racing in there. Hopefully Steve beats Chris. I'm on Steve's team here. But in all seriousness, so what am I talking about? So there was a CBC News piece, and it's about 2 or 3 minutes long, where they bring a computer to the Apple store, they say $1,200 to $2,000 to fix, they bring it to me, and I fix it in front of them for 90 seconds, and I say, if you want the bent pin fix, that there is no charge. So there's a number of questions that typically come from this, and I'd like to address them all. The first is going to be bias from CBC News. The second is going to be, how does the pin bend? The third is going to be the devaluing of the industry by it being done for free. The fourth is going to be the liquid or the rumored liquid damage on the board. So let's go over all of these things in that order. The first one is going to be the bias present in CBC News. So a lot of people are saying that because I'm anti-Apple, that this piece was obviously biased or tilted in some way. And the reason this drives me out of my mind when I hear this is because the way CBC came to me and what it is I suggested they do was actually one of the friendliest things I think I could have done for Apple. When I got the call from the CBC News producer, they said, we want to do a piece on, and I quote, Apple being bad with upgrades. I thought this was boring for two reasons. The first is that if you're starting with the conclusion, we want to do a piece on Apple being bad with upgrades, you're already starting with it. So like, it's just no fun that way. You have to kind of organically figure it out. And B, upgrades are just kind of boring. And honestly, Apple isn't really worse with upgrades than just about any other manufacturer. I mean, if anything, when it comes to like iOS updates and stuff like that, they support their devices longer than everybody else. So I said, instead of starting with the conclusion, let's do something that actually gives them a chance. So what I said is, find a broken MacBook somewhere, bring it to Apple, and then bring it to me. And I said, and I quote, the story will write itself. Now, there is a chance here that they will find an A1278 that has a dead CPU, where Apple will do a flat rate repair for $280, and I can't even fix it at all, where I look like an idiot. There's always a chance of that. However, knowing the way the Genius Bar works, I know on average the chances are going to be on my side that I'll be a better deal and be able to fix it. But there's still a chance for Apple to look good there. You're giving them a chance. And that's what they did. They found a machine that was broken from a company that has a bunch of broken machines. They got that machine, they brought it to Apple. They said it would be $1,200 to $2,100 to fix it. And then they brought it to me, and I saw it was a bent pin on the backlight line. And that was that. So when it comes to the bias, I specifically asked them to do the piece in a manner where Apple would actually have a chance to look good. Now, it's not my fault that they suck so bad when it comes to repair that even when they are given a lob, even when they're given an easy softball, that they wind up screwing it up. That's not on me, that's on them. Secondly, how does this pin bend? Very good question. So this typically bends when somebody tries to open their own computer or fix their own computer and fucks it up. So the EDP cable on this machine, it wraps around in a really weird way. EDP stands for Embedded Display Port, not Emotionally Disturbed Person, although admittedly that's probably what most people think of me right now since I'm walking around near a construction site filming myself with 90 sunglasses. But in all seriousness, the way that this pin is going to break is, if you look at the A1398 MacBook, it wraps around in a really weird way in contrast to older machines, and most people don't know how that wraps around. So when they open their device to unplug something or fix something, they will usually break that, and they won't even know that that's what they broke, because it looks like the cable is routed properly to somebody who's like just uninformed about this. It actually looks like they routed it the right way, when in reality they didn't. It's a little bit confusing in how to route that cable, and a lot of people make this mistake. Now, you need to be good at figuring this out if you're an independent repair shop, because 99% of the time when somebody fucks up a do-it-yourself repair, no offense to the do-it-yourself community, but a lot of you ain't honest. You won't tell us what it is you did. You won't admit that you fucked something up so that I could figure it out in 90 seconds. You'll usually tell me, I never opened it, I never did anything to it, so I have to take everything out and figure out what the fuck you did. So if you run a repair shop like this, you are going to see a lot of this, because a lot of people make this mistake. This was not something that was like, it wasn't an organic failure as in it happened within the computer just magically like FlexGate did, but it is organic in the sense that this was not a plant. This was not something where somebody purposely fucked it up to mess it up, to confuse the Genius Bar. They were just confused because they suck at their job, in my opinion. Now, where this computer came from, the reason I have not said the company that lent it to CBC is because I actually like them, and there is a sense of professional courtesy. What do I mean by professional courtesy? The person working at that company had that computer sitting in a broken bin rather than fixing it and reselling it because he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. My receptionist, without even asking a technician, knows how to fix this problem on his own. So if I say who it is, it's kind of like I'm demonstrating that they screwed something up and I'm attaching their name to it with 1.7 million subscribers, which is a dick move. So I'm not saying where the computer came from or who donated it to the CBC. Out of, again, a professional courtesy. It's like if your friend screws something up really basic, do you really want to announce it to the world in front of 1.7 million people? It's kind of rude. But it did come from a company that had a bin of broken machines, and they just picked one randomly out of this bin of broken machines. CBC News producers, they're nice people. They do not know, oh, PPV out _SO _LCD backlight will be an easily fixable problem because in that model, there is a current sense circuit, not a fuse, so he'll be able to fix it without soldering. Like, they're not fucking doing that at CBC News. No offense. They chose some random shit and they brought it there. The third issue is the one of the liquid damage. And that is something I went over in the microscope. I specifically went over the board for about 2 or 3 minutes to demonstrate that there was no green corrosion and no corroded components whatsoever. That did not make it into the final cut. I am not editing this video. I'm not the one that gets to choose how CBC does business and how CBC does news. There's a reason that they have millions and millions of viewers, and I have 1.7 million subscribers with only 8,000 people that watch most of my videos, let's be honest. So again, they're not looking to me for advice on how to edit their content, so that did not make it in. Nor did the part where I mentioned that if you want the actual screen cable replaced rather than this ghetto hack fix of me just bending a copper pin back, which admittedly it's kind of like a paper clip. If you bend it, and then you bend it back, it's fundamentally less strong than it would be, than a new cable would be. That is $75 to $150 depending on the model computer. The way this works here, if somebody wants that repair done properly, depending on the year and model of the computer, this is a very loud truck, so just give me a second. If they want that repair done, depending on the year and the model of the computer, they will get that done for $75 to $150. 99% of the people that spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a laptop will pay the $75 to $150 to have the cable properly replaced with a new one. 1% that are usually completely broke, destitute, somebody gave them this computer, they lost their job, whatever, will accept the ghetto repair of me bending the pin back with the understanding that I cannot guarantee that this will not break again. And this moves me on to my fourth point, which is a salty point that always comes up when this comes up, which is this asshole is devaluing the industry. He just did this to look good. No business will make money doing this. He's just doing this to look good for other people. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how to be successful in this particular industry and how all of this actually works. So if the real repair is $75 to $150, people say you have to charge, quote, something, right? Because of your expertise, the fact that you're able to find it, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Two things. A, when you have a repair that's $75 to begin with, how much are you going to discount the ghetto version of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, if you have a repair that's $420 or $450, and then you do a ghetto version of it, maybe the ghetto version will be, or the, you know, like the hacked version will be $50 or $100. But when you have a repair that's $75, what am I going to do? Discount a repair that I can't warranty or guarantee down to like $20 and charge them $20 for a bend? Again, it's one of those things where you're getting into nickel and diming. Our shop's average, how are you? Our shop's average ticket is somewhere in the range of $300 to $600, often for data recovery and other stuff. So like, I'm just, again, when it comes to, like, we want you to come back for those $300 to $600 repairs. I'm not trying to get your $20 right now. That's not my business model, and in my opinion, that's not a smart business model. So if it's something like that, it's like, instead of like nickel and diming you for some fucking $20 or $10 thing, because again, keep in mind, the only person who's going for this is the person who can't afford the $75 to $150 repair depending on the model. It's just like, here, just fucking take it, you know? Once you have the money, come back for the real repair. Or once you have the money for something else, you'll come back for your data recovery or your liquid damage repair or something else where we'll actually get to make some real money off of you. I don't care about a fucking $25 repair. It's fundamentally not how we make money. when your rent is $13,000 a month, when your payroll is $20,000 a week. That's just not how that's not, it's meaningless. Now, the $10 to $20 that I would get for that repair, because keep in mind, if the proper repair is $75, the ghetto repair it has to be considerably less, which is gonna be like $20. What's worth more? The goodwill of that customer telling every single one of his friends, go to this place over everybody else, they'll treat you right, or getting the 15 or $20. For me, that one person going to every repair, everybody he knows, every friend, family member, coworker, and saying, use this place, going to his school principal and saying, stop using this place that's ripping us off, send all the MacBooks at the school to Rossman Repair. That is worth infinitely more to me than the $15 to $20 in the moment. And most of the time, the people who tend to be pissed off and say he's just doing it to look good on camera, this is not something he would do off camera, A, they don't pay attention to the fact that I have reviews dating back to before I even had a YouTube channel. You look back on Google Maps, 2009, 2010, 2011, people saying that I did the exact same thing for them even back then before there was YouTube or much less a CBC News piece. But B, they tend to be the type of people that are nickel and diming the fuck out of people. As I've said many times, and I've said this to many people, I'm not gonna single out any one individual because there's a lot of salty people when this news piece gets posted. There are a lot of people, like, you seem like the kind of person that would remove lint from an iPhone charge port and charge somebody $30 for it. It's like, again, to be clear, I believe that you should be paid for your expertise, but there's a balance to be worked here when you're getting paid for your expertise. Like, there are many motherboard repairs I do where I am done inside of 2 or 3 minutes, and we still bill $325 because the amount of time it took to figure that out, the cost of all the equipment involved, all this other stuff, that costs money, that costs time, that costs research. All of that matters. We still bill good money for a lot of the repairs and data recoveries we do because we value our services and I value the people that I pay enough to charge enough money that I can continue to afford to pay them. But when we're talking about, let's say, an iPhone charge port, where the charge port repair service in its entirety, including a new port, is $50, what are you gonna do? Charge them fucking $20 for removing the lint? Are you insane? Or again, when we're talking about a display cable service, where it starts at $75 and peaks at $150, like, really, you're gonna charge, okay, you know what? I didn't replace the cable and the pin is much less secure than it was initially. Instead of paying me $75, just give me $30 and we'll call it even. Like, it's just so fucking short-sighted. And the people who tend to be pissed at this, almost every single time, tend to be the people that fail to understand a proper strategy for retaining customer trust, customer loyalty, and getting decent reviews. Like, I'm proud of the reviews that we have here. We do not offer people discounts. There are many stores, many repair shops, where they will offer you a discount in exchange for leaving a 5-star review. I used to work at a place that did that, and it disgusted me. You should be earning your reviews. You shouldn't be bribing people. But at the same time, a lot of that comes from the trust that you build with people by not screwing them over on things. Now, if that same person comes back in and he needs some sort of head swap on a hard drive with platter damage or something, they're going to be paying $900 to $2,000 for that because that is a very, very difficult job. It requires a lot of experience, it requires expensive equipment, and it requires, for, over a year, Steve staying at the store until 12 or 1 in the morning, banging his head against the wall to figure it out, training, etc., this, that, and the other. But when we give that person that quote, they are going to trust us because when we had the opportunity to fuck them, and they would have never known that we fucked them, they're not going to know if we fucking replaced the cable or not, even if they ask for the old part back. I can just go into my parts bin and give them somebody else's cable, like they're going to fucking know. We didn't. And most of the people that wind up becoming very salty over the fact that I said that if somebody was too broke to afford the replacement cable, that I would give them the ghetto fixer free, they tend to be the people that are doing the nickel and diming. They tend to be the people that are unable to develop a proper trusting relationship with their customer. They're the type of people that are going to say, this guy's an asshole and just making this up and screwing people over, as you look at their 2.7-star Google Maps account, or their Google Maps account for their business that doesn't even exist because nobody ever thought they were even worth leaving a review for. It tends to be a saltiness that comes from people that do not have a mindset that is what's the word I'm looking for? Likely to produce trust from their customers. And it's something that I think you should think about. Are you nickel and diming people on the small stuff rather than working on building up long-term trust? Because again, here, I want people to be coming back for 10 or 20 years. I want that customer to tell every single person that they know, they could have screwed me, and they didn't. Because that is valuable. It's basic business common sense, because I find it funny when they say that you're devaluing what you do. I think it's the opposite. If you're the dude that when somebody comes in with an iPhone 4 where the screen popped out, the screen cable popped out because the last repair shop did not put the little piece of rubber on it that they were supposed to, or that nobody, let's face it, nobody ever put the foam on. Very few people put the foam on, so that the screen, they had a screen plug and then they had a metal cover over it. And if you didn't, with the new screen never came with the foam. So if you didn't put foam on, the moment the person even just banged the phone like this, the plug would pop out because there was nothing holding it in. If you were the place that would say, oh, you know, we didn't have to fix your screen, but we did a fix for you that'll work, and literally all you did is plug it back in, and you charge them 50 or 80 bucks for that, listen, again, it's your business. You're welcome to do whatever you want. But what's more valuable to you? That 50 bucks that you got once a month, or popping it back in, showing them what went wrong, showing them what the last shop didn't do, telling them there's no charge, getting them to leave you let's face it, they're going to leave you a $10 or $20 tip for that, and then having them tell 2,000 people, everybody in their Facebook wall, everybody on their Instagram, everybody that they tell that's going to tell somebody else, only go to this shop because they're honest. Honesty is not simply something that you do to be a good person. And that's something that I want to make clear here. And honestly, I should have made clear much earlier in the video. I have 2 videos on my live channel and this one going over why I genuinely believe I am not a good person. This is not done because I am a good person, or because I want to project being a good person, or because I'm, you know, like such an angelic creature. In many ways, I am a piece of shit. However, here's the thing. Sometimes being a good person just so happens to coincide with that which is most profitable. You can make more money while doing a good thing at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. And this is one of the things that I bring up every time I have somebody from r/anti-work show up in my comment section and talk about the horrible, you know, inherent evils of capitalism and how the system can never work. You can be a capitalist. You can make more money on many occasions by being honest and by not being an asshole. And this is one of the clearest examples of it, because this is something that I've been doing for years before I even had a YouTube channel, and it just so happens to show up on the news. And honestly, I have absolutely no regrets about that. I have no shame about it, because it's something that we were doing anyway. And it's one of the reasons that I believe our business is as successful as it is. Whereas since I moved to 186 First Avenue in January 2012, 4 of the surrounding MacBook repair shops within 4 years were out of business, and we were in business. Sometimes it's actually more profitable to be a good person. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'm going to go back in there and race a go-kart. I'm actually going to be posting a video of the 2 data recovery technicians doing a go-kart race. I still think that Steve is going to beat Chris. He's really, really good at drifting, but I think that Steve is a little bit more controlled in his driving, and their wives are also going to be on the track, which is going to be absolutely effing hysterical. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye now.